Heroes never die.
The enemy teleporter is here.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Wasmatic. Welcome to my channel. Over the last week we've seen lots of information being leaked or produced in official and unofficial capacity over the changes that we're going to see to Overwatch heroes and gameplay on the run up to Season 6. So I thought it would be a good opportune moment to recap what do we know is going to land before the start of Season 6 and what have we heard that are rumours that heroes that are being looked at the moment. I'm going to try and run through these very quickly, but there's an awful lot changing. Overwatch is going to change quite a lot in terms of the heroes. So let's look at the changes we know are happening. Junkrat first and foremost. Probably most of you have heard now that Junkrat has been on the PTR. He now will be able to hold 2 concussion mines, making him much more mobile as a hero and a potential counter for Pharah. So I think that's a welcome change. Also, they're going to increase Junkrat's ultimate by, I think, I have notes on my screen here, 30%. So his ultimate's, his Riptire speed will be increased by 30%, and there will be removal of any time limit while wall climbing. This is probably, I think, most welcome. Certainly Riptire, when I play Soldier, it's too easy to spot and it's too easy to shoot before it gets anywhere near doing any damage. So welcome changes, I think. Orisa is the next hero that we're seeing that's going to see some significant changes. We have an increase in the projectile speed from her primary DPS, which is the fusion driver, so projectile speed will be increased by 20%. It's going to help her with her accuracy, and certainly at medium ranges where you need to lead the shots because she's not a scan hero. Also, an increase in the barrier size of 20%. I did see a video by Stylosa on this, and the barrier is enormous, and the barrier shape has been changed to allow for more coverage. So, for example, sitting on the payload with a barrier up, there's going to be a barrier that hooks around at the bottom as well, so, and the side, so it's going to give an increased level of protection in certain scenarios. Roadhog, recently and much nerfed Roadhog with his hook ability, is now being shifted closer towards becoming a more viable tank or damage blocker, if you like. So he's going to have his Take a Breather, which is heal ability. He can now use that ability when he's moving. I say now, when it's introduced. It's been on PTR, so we'll see that probably before the start of Season 6. So he can use Take a Breather on the move, and also, whilst he's using his heal ability, his damage taken is reduced by 50%. So in terms of his viability as a defensive hero, he's certainly seeing that buff. There are no changes to his offensive capabilities, but certainly his survivability is going to be increased. Widowmaker has seen a couple of little tweaks, I think, which might actually make some significant changes in the game. I think Widowmaker is one of those heroes that you need to be very careful about how you change her, because she's already pretty overpowered in the right hands, and I know that she's been nerfed in the past, and we're seeing lots of little tweaks to Widowmaker. Grappling hook, the cooldown is going to be reduced from 12 seconds to 8. I think most welcome. When I play Widowmaker, I find that the grappling hook is never there when I need it, and I think the reduction to 8 seconds is probably a very sensible move. Venom Mine, I'm not entirely sure about this one, but when she uses her Venom Mine now, she also gets the ability to see targets who are affected by that damage over time. She now sees them through walls, so they become visible in the same way as when she's using her ultimate. I would imagine that damage over time doesn't last for too long. I think it's probably 4 or 5 seconds, but it's an interesting change anyway. Those are the changes we know are happening. I'm going to move on to talk about the changes that have come from a post that it was a discussion that was being made around a discussion on the official forums about changes that could be made to D.Va, and Jeff Goodman, who's the principal designer for Overwatch, piped up and he made a post about changes that they're actually making to D.Va. Now I don't believe in coincidence. I certainly think that all of this information has been leaked prior to Gamescom, and it's very timely. What Jeff Goodman has said is that Defense Matrix energy drain is going to be increased by 2 times. This means the effective uptime for the ability has been reduced by 50%. So for those of you who actually know the times, Defense Matrix currently can be held open for 4 seconds, so that means that it's being reduced to 2. I think this is a good change for D.Va. I think that this will start to tweak the dive comp and make certainly the pro teams think more about whether she's a must-have pick with Winston, as we've seen so much in recent times. The must-have dive comp team being Winston, D.Va, Zenyatta, Lucio, and then probably one of Soldier, Sombra, or Tracer, and definitely a Genji. So let's hope that this will start to shake up the viable team comps. When you throw in the changes that are being made to Orisa and Roadhog as well, it could become very interesting. So D.Va's also being given the ability to use her fusion cannons while flying. So I think again this is much needed. It never made sense to me that you couldn't use your weapons while you were boosting around. So that's now being introduced, along with a new ability called micro missiles, which is let me read this out to you because it's on Jeff Goodman's post. Her new micro missiles ability, in combination with her ability to fire while flying, allow for some more aggressive play, as well as opening up some new options versus heroes such as Pharah. So we're seeing potentially Junkrat and D.Va now both becoming more viable counters to Pharah. The new ability is D.Va launches a long salvo of small missiles that explode on impact, dealing damage in a small radius around them. So it feels like it's a slight AoE damage. This ability can be used while using other abilities or firing her fusion cannon. So if you imagine the worst case or best case scenario, D.Va's boosting towards you, she's firing her fusion cannons and rockets at the same time. That's going to be an interesting one, and it's going to be an interesting one to learn how to counter. I think we're going to rely on D.Va and Reinhardt for those scenarios. So we've seen all of those changes. This is not actually officially posted yet. This is just a forum post from Jeff Goodman about the changes that are being made to D.Va. What else have we got? So you've got the D.Va changes. Mercy. So during yesterday's Seagull was streaming yesterday on Twitch, and he had Scott Mercer sat next to him, and Scott Mercer basically said that there are going to be some changes to Mercy. There's no further details at the moment, but everyone is I think rumouring or hoping that these changes will be to Mercy's ultimate ability. As I said, there are no more details on that, just Mercy changes, quote, in general. So then there was an awful lot of other information that came out from the first day at Gamescom yesterday, information that was leaked, a lot from Scott Mercer in his discussion with Seagull. So I've got a bullet point list here. I'm going to sort of read over these very quickly. There's a slow change to matchmaking, where it won't create matches when the expected win percentages exceeds a certain threshold. So I guess it's trying to predict the outcome of a game and say if it's a 90% likelihood of a win, then it's not going to create that match with that matchmaking. So not sure about that one really, because I would rather see a reset on the MMR every time that we start a new season and people find their natural place, rather than Blizzard predict where our natural place is and drop us in there. Let's have a look. We're going to see a more advanced stat screen, so you can compare lots of your own stats with some more pro stats. So it looks like we're going to get some sort of leaderboard comparison ability in the game, much like Overbuff or Master Overwatch. What else have we seen? They've confirmed that they're not going to reset the MMR, which I'm deeply disappointed about, and I've got a very good reason for that, because I have two accounts, and Blizzard tell me that I'm about 1400 SR apart in my individual skills, and I don't think that's right. I think I sit somewhere in between, actually. They've rejected the idea of role selection for matchmaking, which was forcing players to choose what role they wanted to take in a team comp. I personally agree that that's not a right thing to do, but they need to address some way players who are just the pro Genji. I had it again this morning, just a guy picking a pro Genji, and that was it. That's what I'm going to play. So that's it, guys. Those are significant changes headed our way. We've also got, alongside with that, the introduction of Junkertown, which is a new map, which I'm really looking forward to. I think it's an escort map. And I'm now going to go away and see what other information is coming out of Day 2 from Gamescom, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you very much for listening and putting up with me for 9 minutes. If you like what you're hearing, please give me a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.
Experience tranquility.
How? I thought he won.
enough time.
No, we have a lot of time.
Heroes never die.
Nice.
Wow, oh yeah,
Okay, good luck guys.
good game.
Well played.